Welcome, everybody. Another episode of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. And that is Brian over there on the opposite side of the screen. I think I should introduce him as the new head coach of Central Valley Fuego. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good getting ready for the move out to Central Valley because I'm definitely qualified for that job and the man for that job. So, I'll be moving there preemptively before I have the job. Some would say it's a bad decision. I'd say it's just the smart way to go because if I'm there they can't say no to my face.
Exactly. You can find Brian on Twitter at Mediocre Ace. Imagine having the mics for the broadcasts on the sideline between you and some of the other League One coaches. I can only imagine the quality banter that we'd be able to hear throughout the broadcast.
Yeah, the people in our section are well aware of the amount of talking that I do. So yeah, I would love to get in on that.
Well, we have a great show tonight. Usually we're broadcasting on Wednesdays, but we're actually doing a Friday night show, obviously. And we've had a very busy week between Brian and I. Uh, Busier in Brian's household. You've had a great week over in your house. A lot to announce and all that kind of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I got sworn into the local union yesterday. Had to go to the meeting, which didn't end until 9 o'clock. I got there at 5:45, so it was definitely a long day. But um, yeah, things are looking up in the good old career side of things. So
Yeah, congrats on that. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. It's definitely different, but in a good way. So
Yeah. And obviously on Wednesday night we were both at the Union Omaha match, so that's another reason why we didn't record on Wednesday night.
hmm yeah, watching Union Omaha get that W. It got scary late
Mhm.
though. NCFC definitely the kids that they threw in after they pulled most of their starters really made it butt clenching time towards the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love when Alex over at League One Updater posted on Twitter something along the lines of it was right when Richmond was doing a lot of their, or I'm sorry, North Carolina was doing a lot of their subs. He posted on Twitter something like, "Oh heck, we play Greenville this weekend, so here we go." Like they're just doing a whole bunch of subs. I thought that was great.
Yeah, definitely a good one.
Yep. So before we get too far into the show, Brian, what are you drinking tonight?
Um, I went out to eat with my wife, so I had a couple bush lights there. So I've switched to water because long day of drinking tomorrow between the Husker game and a nightcap of Union Omaha. So got to get
Yep.
stay hydrated.
Yep. I am going to be sticking with water tonight as well. I I mean, it's it's water, but like I have one of those like Celsius powder packets like in this water, but then I have, a full bottle over here.
There you go.
Um, the main motivation is because during the last episode, I'm pretty sure 80% of that episode I was drunk. What was that? The summer beer or whatever that I was drinking went straight to my head. So yeah,
Yep, it'll sneak up on you, man. That's
yeah,
those we used to call them just jungle juices when you would just throw a bunch of random alcohol into a jug, and that's
yep,
essentially what a summer beer is. So
yep.
I
Oof.
think you did an excellent job as usual, but again, all things considered, still an excellent job.
Thank you. Yeah, you know those videos you see on the internet of people trying to deceive police officers, trying to make them think that they're not drunk, and they're trying to
Yeah,
sound smart as they speak. I feel like that was me during the entire episode.
I,
Ugh.
uh, I don't agree with that assessment, but still, it's a funny visual.
We're trying to expand into, more social media, posts and everything, and we're trying to put in, some of those short video snippets throughout the show onto, days following the episodes, and, um there's a reason why we didn't post a whole lot of the videos from this most recent episode.
Yeah, I think we could have, but you have not that you have anything to be embarrassed about, but there was maybe one or two things I'm seeing on our on our timestamps that I write down. That probably could have been comical, but understandable nonetheless.
Just like, "Rich, what the fuck?" Question mark, question mark.
Actually, my favorite one is in quotes, "Rich, oh crap, no goes back."
Oh, yeah, yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of the things I said in that episode. I do remember saying that, though.
Yep,
Yeah,
not wrong either. Not wrong.
yeah. Man, they are back. Undefeated in what, their past 5 matches or something like that?
That is true. Yeah, 2 draws, 3 wins,
Yeah. Oof, man.
sitting on 46 points, tied with
Yeah.
Union Omaha on points, but a significant goal differential
Mhm.
lead, which is the second tiebreaker.
Yep. Well, before we start discussing any of the league matchups tomorrow and Sunday, we have plenty of League One news to discuss, and most of it centers around Central Valley Fuego. It has been a big week of news for Central Valley, and man, it's I don't know what is going on over there in Fresno, but there is some drama happening.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely not great at all. Hopefully they'll get it figured out because I do enjoy seeing them in the league. But wow,
Yep.
lots to talk about with them today.
Yeah, one of their best players, Ozzy Ramos, was transferred over to Forward Madison for the rest of the season. Huge loss for Central Valley Fuego, especially their midfield. But if you're
Hmm.
a Forward Madison fan, this is a great pickup.
Oh yeah, I mean Forward Madison has dearly needed another midfielder that can control that midfield like Ozzy can.
Yeah,
And is this going to flip around their recent run of form with this great addition? I think probably. I think we'll probably see Madison return a little bit to past glory with this pickup. But
yeah,
man, crazy, crazy that
yeah,
Central Valley got rid of it.
yeah. I agree. I wonder what the discussions were like. Who started the conversation? Um, I don't know. I wish I was a fly on the wall of that negotiation.
Yeah.
Uh, to do that toward the end of the regular season, especially when they're fighting to avoid the wooden spoon. I Maybe after this most recent loss and Chattanooga's result, they just decided, all right, well, that's enough.
Hmm. It could be. There's definitely some things going on behind the scenes at the club that need some addressing, but it seems like they're going to try to pull it back and get it done. So
Yeah.
hopefully that works out for them, but no promises, I guess.
And as Ozzy goes to Madison, he's going to be rejoining his former teammate, fellow former Fuego player Christian Cheney.
Mm,
Today's actually his birthday. So, Christian Cheney, if you're
happy
watching or
birthday!
listening, happy birthday. Yeah. And today's also Devin Boyce's birthday over in Greenville.
Oh, happy birthday, Devin, as well.
Yeah. So, like you said, this move to Ford Madison is going to be a huge catalyst for change in Forward Madison's midfield, especially if you look at the fact that they've been missing Chelo Martinez and their midfield. He hasn't played for almost over a month now because his last match was in week 21 on August 5th.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
that I mean it, and it's shown. I mean, I think if we probably went back and looked at where this kind of drop happened for Forward Madison, it I would assume that it coincides with that injury. So
yep.
not great.
Yeah. So if you are looking at um, Ozzy Ramos, Ramos, yeah. If you're looking at his player profile, what he brings to Forward Madison. If you've been watching League One, you know the kind of player that he is, especially if your team has been playing Central Valley, because he's the kind of dual threat there in the midfield, where he's an accurate passer. He likes to come back on defense to fill in with any needs that they have back there. At the same time, when he gets the ball, he doesn't try to sit back and drop the ball to the back line. He goes straight forward, so Christian Cheney salivating for any and all of those offensive opportunities that are about to come his way.
Hmm.
He doesn't take a whole lot of shots, which is perfectly fine for Forward Madison because as long as he's setting up his teammates for those offensive opportunities, they're going to have those scoring opportunities. They don't have to rely on him to score goals. They have plenty of other playmakers on their roster.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is going to be a good addition to their roster. And like you said, I think this could definitely result in Forward Madison, climbing a place or two before the end of the regular season.
Oh yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah. And to go along with that news, so I think this news came out a week ago, but it kind of ties into the news that we heard not only I think maybe even yesterday, but also today. So last week we found out that the sporting director Adam Smith, who had been Central Valley Fuego's interim manager, decided to step down from that role and focus on the uh, what they had on their website and the press release. He'll be focusing on, quote, establishing a full time academy structure with first team player responsibilities, scouting youth talent within the Valley, and will be engaging in the international transaction market within Europe. So he's going to be a busy man. And I can only imagine how difficult it was for him being in that interim manager role, as well as trying to take on and maintain some of those front office duties that he was overseeing.
Hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me that he would step back, um, but it's just another one of those, revolving door of management for that first team that continues to create worry for fans and other spectators from around the league.
Yeah, and I mean it. You knew that Adam being in both of those roles was probably not long for the world. I mean, it's two full time jobs that he was doing, and you can only do that for the love of the club for so long. I mean,
Yep.
that wears on people very much. So, um,
Yeah.
not a surprise that he would be stepping back and focusing on his sporting director duties as opposed to the coaching responsibilities.
Yeah. So filling in now as the interim manager is the former assistant coach, well, still assistant coach, but now the interim manager, Edison Gonzalez. So um, at least they have a familiar face that's going to be stepping into that management role. And then this news was actually a very recent announcement from the club as well. Their vice president, Nehemias Nini Blanco, and the club decided to part ways. Nini Blanco has been with the club since their inaugural season in 2022. Um, he was a integral part of their um, you know inaugural season. So it's just another one of those pieces that's no longer gonna be with the club. It's just so weird to see all this happening so quickly.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. Kind of scary, especially if you're a fan of Central Valley. Nobody wants to see teams fold or anything like that, or take a step back, or step forward into championship either. But um, hopefully, this is a stepping stone for Central Valley as opposed to a, I think death sentence is a little bit harsh, but a a thing for them to take a step back at some point. Hopefully, it's not a precursor for that kind of thing.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem that way. I mean, with them putting out a search for the next head coach, and it being could be any one of us. It's
Yeah.
an open search. So open to the public. If you feel like you got enough soccer manager 23 experience underneath you and you want to try your hand at the real thing, send them your resume.
Yep. So one of the names that I saw mentioned was actually from Chris Kaufman, our friend over at USL Argentina. He suggested Federico Molinari. So he is the coach of USL 2 club Western Mass Pioneers, and he has had a run of success there at the club recently, that should, you know, grant him at least an interview for the position. In the last 4 seasons, the team has made the playoffs every single season. They've been Northeast Division champs twice in those 4 years. They've been Eastern Conference champs, one of those, 4 years, and in the 65 games they've played in those 4 years, they had 47 wins, 8 draws, and only 10 losses, which,
Wow.
uh, combines to a 72.3% win percentage. So he's been doing some good things there in League 2.
Yeah. Definitely one to look out for. That is
Yeah,
an insane win percentage.
yep. And there were also a lot of people that were throwing out, Travis Poole, and I think he would be, a good fit there too. A lot of people, really like some of the tactical stuff that he's been posting on social media and the way that, he shows his passion for soccer. I know that he, coaches a girls' team, um, trying to learn some more about him at the moment, but, uh not able to pull up too much information right off the bat, but we can do some more research onto him. But there's other, high quality coaches out there,
Mhm.
that are certainly, on their radar, at least should be. Um, and it's going to be really interesting to see who they hire.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I mean it could be an outside hire, it could be somebody from League 2. I think probably the way the league's been going, I would assume League 2 is where they're going to start looking if they can't look above and bring somebody down to them. Um, or also in the live chat, Tim with Ranting Blue Penguin Media letting us know that he literally downloaded Football Manager 23 today. So who knows? Tim could be the next head coach as well of Central Valley Fuego.
That
So
is step one in the application process.
yeah,
So,
post
Tim,
your
you're
win
well on your way.
percentages on Football Manager 23 and get them going. Also, show up in Central Valley and hand them your resume in person, and it forces their hand a little bit. I mean, don't do that because that's what I'm doing. But if you do, I'll put you on the staff.
There you go. You guys can get the a package like airfare package together.
Yeah. And Tim, then you can take over for me when I eventually get fired for not performing. So I can talk about it. I can't actually do it.
And we already have someone withdrawing their name from contention. Oh, come on, Michael. We know you can do this, man. Get your application in there.
Yeah, we believe in you guys.
So, but there is good news coming out of Central Valley Fuego. They did recently announce the opening of their training um, grounds. So they posted that on social media, and it looks like a nice section of land for them to
Mhm.
get all their training in. So, I mean, that they at least have that going for them.
Yeah, I mean, it also shows that they're willing to invest in the infrastructure. So that also makes me believe that they're going to be sticking around. They're not going to
Yeah,
invest time and money into a training facility for no reason at all. They're planning to be around for a while, which is good to see.
yeah. So even though we just went over, bad news after bad news after bad news, as Brian just said, yes, they are investing in the area. They are trying to make this happen. They are not going to go anywhere. So don't hit the panic button. You know, just keep the faith, keep following your club.
Hmm. Keep trucking along, and
Yeah,
something. I mean, something good will come of it. Look at NCFC. All you got to do is spend a bunch of money on some of the league's best players, and then you can be in first place in the table. So
there you go. And
worst to
then
first.
you're a year away from being in championship.
Yeah, so that's
That's
how
all it
this
takes.
goes, right?
Yeah,
Who would have thought in
yeah,
professional sports, if you spend a lot of money and buy the best players, that you have a better shot at winning a title?
yeah. Well, maybe not at Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, they're the exception that proves the rule, I suppose.
And while we're on the topic of Premier League, congrats to your Liverpool. As an Aston Villa fan, I have to pass that congratulations on. Good game to you. Good game to Tim over at Ranting Blue Penguin Media.
Hmm.
You did beat Aston Villa, so congrats.
Yes, they did, and did it without big Virgil van Dijk, who also, I'm going to take a little side tangent here. Just recently was announced that he has to pay £100,000 fine
Yeah,
and has to sit out another match
yeah,
for calling a referee's decision an effing joke.
yeah. That's pretty soft.
I mean, that there's a lot of soft people around right now. It's
Yeah.
and at least in my personal soccer sphere, that's a story for a different day. I'm not going to tell it on the podcast, but Rich knows what I'm talking about, and a select few
Do.
others do. So, but in any case, I don't think I don't think Aston Villa is going to be playing as poorly as it seemed they did.
No,
I
that
think that
was
was an
hopefully a one-off.
anomaly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. We also had some other big news in League One. Uh, it was just announced, I think yesterday, wasn't it? That
Mhm.
Portland is going to be coming to League One in 2025. Now, this is not Portland, Oregon. This is Portland, Maine.
Sure.
Nonetheless, still very cool. We're very happy to have Portland, Maine joining the league. Can't wait to get the banter going and to see all their merch and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that they have released so far, like some of the scarf, the hints that you see on the scarf and the jersey and stuff like that,
Mhm.
looks pretty cool.
It does. It is a from what little we've seen of the kit, it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous one.
Yeah, yeah. And I so Brian and I, we know that there's some interest in expanding the league. There are plans to, grow significantly across the league in terms of numbers of clubs in League One. I think there's that plan that was in place by 2026. By the World Cup, they want to have, what was it, like 30 or something like that clubs in League One.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Um, so you have to believe that in that spread of League One influence across the country, they have to be aiming at New Hampshire, which brings me to this because when Portland announced their arrival to League One, they announced it on New Hampshire Day. I think if we get a club in New Hampshire, that would be such a fun rivalry to watch.
Oh, I agree. That would be another good one.
And I mean, it makes you think of like One Knox and Lexington, how they have that close proximity, and just that sort of border war mentality. I think we would see a lot of fun stuff coming from those 2 states.
Yeah, in a league that apparently now has an obsession with some rivalries and pushing rivalries, that it only makes sense. So hopefully
Yeah.
we do. And I mean, Vermont Green has done some really good things and some really cool things. So that
Yep.
that would be perfect for League One and easy to push as well.
Yeah, it would be cool to see Vermont Green, join League One. Um, they obviously have enough, momentum and, fans and a following online. They get a lot of, viral stuff going from their neck of the woods.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that is the news around the league. We can jump into some of the weekend matches for week 26. Now, we did have 2 midweek matches. We already did talk about a little bit about the Union Omaha and North Carolina match that was on Wednesday. We also had Northern Colorado defeating Lexington 3-2. Um,
Another butt clenching night as well,
yes, it
where
really was too.
Northern Colorado got out to a lead and Lexington tried to surge back. Um, just like the horse races down there, the back stretch got very interesting.
Hmm. So now, as we turn our attention to Saturday, the first match on Saturday evening is going to be Charlotte hosting Chattanooga. And This is like a matchup of teams on opposite ends of the spectrum
Mhm.
because not only in the sense that they're at, you know, opposite ends of the full league table, but Charlotte Independence, when they play at home, they are nearly unstoppable. When Chattanooga plays on the road, anyone seems to be able to stop them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy the disparity between the 2. I mean, um, when you look at where they place, in the table, it's 4th for Charlotte and 11th for Chattanooga, and pretty damn close for their home and away, with Charlotte being 3rd in the league in home wins, and Chattanooga with being in last place with away wins. So, um, it does not look good for Chattanooga. Playing outside of the den, they seem to, lose a little bit of that bite that they had last season.
Yeah. I mean, Charlotte has only lost once in their last 8 home, matches, and
Mhm.
in their last 2 home matches, they've scored 7 goals.
Oof.
And let's flip this around because if you look at Chattanooga, their last 2, um, away matches, they only scored 2 goals. So, I mean, you're looking at a lopsided battle here. Um,
Mhm.
you know, the only win that Chattanooga had this season on the road was when they were playing, I think it was um, what was it? The Smoky Mountain Smackdown against One Knox.
Mhm.
I think that was their only win on the road this season. So, man, for Chattanooga to get a result at Charlotte, not only is that going to be very difficult for them, but if they do, it's going to be monumental.
Mhm.
Because Charlotte is really looking to solidify a spot in the top 6, and if they have a team like Chattanooga getting in their way, that that's not gonna make, their fans very happy.
No, I agree. But the thing that's different about Chattanooga and Charlotte at the moment is if you look at their last 3, they are the exact opposite, with Charlotte having a loss, a draw, and a win in their last 3, and Chattanooga having a win, a draw, and a loss in their last 3. So just reverse exactly what had happened. And I mean, it's not a huge indicator, but it is an indicator, I suppose. Maybe Chattanooga a little late season push to try to solidify them not getting the wooden spoon this season.
Yep. And we know that, this is gonna be a very difficult matchup. Or we know we've already been talking about that. When you look at Charlotte, they have the most clean sheets at home of any League One club this season. They have 6 clean sheets at home. And when you look at Chattanooga, they have never had a clean sheet on the road.
Mm, yeah, and I mean it shows just by looking at their away goals for average is 0.69 goals.
Mhm.
Nice. And their away goals allowed is 2.31. I'm just huge disparity. This team obviously cannot win on the road. They can't even draw hardly on the road with one draw this season on the road, and just insane amount of goals being given up by a side that traditionally has been known to give up goals but to score them as well, and it just doesn't seem
Mhm.
to be the case this season. Um, Especially when you look at their negative 17 goal differential this season.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is gonna be, uh, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This one's probably gonna be pretty ugly.
it will definitely be an uphill battle for Chattanooga, but again, this Chattanooga is one of those very weird teams that will come out and pull a random upset like this, and nobody's going to talk about it because it's like, oh, Chattanooga pulled off an upset. Yeah, it seems about right. They're due for one about right now.
Yeah.
So,
If you are looking at Chattanooga, if you're Charlotte and you're looking at Chattanooga, you obviously have to be mindful of Siobhan Marsh.
mhm.
He has 11 goals with Chattanooga. Um, he's been on a bit of a tear, in recent matches. So, yeah, if you're Charlotte, you're definitely, keeping an eye on him.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, there are some bright spots here, and I will say I'm thinking this match is going to be a little bit closer than the numbers would give you, and I'll give you the reason for that is they just played South Georgia Tormenta to a 4-4 draw. South Georgia is not a pushover team at all. They're going to be pushing for a playoff spot, I feel, here pretty soon. And then they beat a team already in playoff position in Forward Madison, and not only beat Forward Madison, but completely dominated Forward Madison in their last match. Now, Forward Madison
Yeah,
tends to have a bit of a
that was
drop off, but um, yeah, it's you still can't count that out even with Forward Madison's issues. That's still a good side, especially to beat 3-1.
yeah, that was a surprise that I don't think many people saw coming at all.
No, definitely not. They did and that but that's exactly what they do is they'll show Chattanooga will show these bursts of well done play and come back and shock some people. Now, do I think they can do it 3 weeks in a row? That might be a little bit tougher. I mean, Charlotte, I believe, is probably a tougher opponent than Forward Madison is right now. Um, but that being said, Chattanooga has proven that they can beat tough teams as well. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. And Tim is chiming in over in the YouTube chat saying, "Hey, they defend the den. No one said anything about advancing outside the den."
I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we can turn it around here too as well and look at if Charlotte is looking at this match, they definitely can't take Chattanooga um, for granted that this is going to be a win. I think they are the more talented team. I think they should win this match, but um, if you just look at their schedule after this, they've got a date with Lexington after this match tomorrow. So that's definitely not a team you can sleep on either. So with them wanting to be pushing for a playoff, to make sure they stay in the playoffs, um, they have one more match played than everyone in playoff position right now. So
Mhm.
they're on 40 points. They're 7 points behind North Carolina. So they really need to start making up some ground here if
Yeah.
they want to stay in the playoff position, especially with how heated 8 through 5 is kind of getting.
Yeah. And if you're following Chattanooga up with Lexington, playing in Lexington,
Hmm.
oof, that's tough, man. Lexington, they're what? They're one of the best at home this season. Well, they're in fifth place at home. Um, but they've had some recent success there at home, and I mean,
Hmm.
they're certainly not, a pushover when you go to Lexington. So
Right.
that's a tough assignment for Charlotte.
Hmm. It'll it'll be different. And honestly, if we're gonna go and look at history, if that means anything, with how much these teams change over the year, Charlotte has only won once against Chattanooga, whereas there's been 2 draws and 2 Chattanooga wins. So they could even up the all-time series with Chattanooga with a win tomorrow night.
Yeah, man, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. It's definitely this is one of those weird years for Chattanooga, and I feel like a weird year. All teams go through weird years, weird development years. They lost a ton of people, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
isn't the same squad that it was last year. So
Yeah,
um, they're definitely going to have to rebuild after this season. But you could also rebuild by winning as well. So
yep.
it'll be interesting. Like I said, I feel like this is going to be a lot closer than we would like to think it's going to be.
Okay. I like that you have some faith here. So, all right, let's go into prediction mode. What are you thinking for this one?
I think it's going to be close. I think Chattanooga will get out to an early lead, um, and I'm even going to go as far as to say an early 2 goal lead on Charlotte. But I think just the talent and the attacking prowess of Charlotte overtakes them, and Charlotte ends up winning it late in added time, 3-2.
Wow. Okay. Man, so an eventful, high-scoring match there in Charlotte.
Oh, I believe the goal record is is going to be broken after this weekend.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, because yeah, what they're like tied right now with, or the league is super close to yeah breaking their
Hmm.
record. But yeah, after this weekend, it'll definitely be
Yeah,
broken.
I believe they're in single digits from breaking the all time goals scored record. So
Yeah. Let's see. If I'm predicting this one, I don't, man. I'll go 2-0 Charlotte. I think they'll get. I think they'll get two early. Well, two goals in the first half, and then they'll just ride it out in the second half.
mhm. That's not a bad pick either. I could honestly see that going as well. And it
Thought
just
about going with
depends.
Yeah, I thought about going with 3-0 to match their week 11 result, but I'm gonna stick
Mhm.
with 2-0.
Yeah, that's fair. It honestly really depends on what Chattanooga team comes out to play.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree with you on that one. All right, so kicking off at the exact same time as that match is going to be another match. This one's going to be a good one there in Greenville. North
Hmm.
Carolina is coming to town, and Greenville coming off a draw last week. They had
Hmm.
that 1-1 draw against Lexington last week, so they're looking to bounce back, from that result. If you're getting a draw on the road at Lexington, I know it's not the same as a victory, but at the same time, I'd consider it, a moral victory. There you go.
Hmm. Yeah, Lexington is definitely a tough place to play. I think most teams would tell you that. Um, and honestly, anytime you go on the road and you get a point on the road, that's your kind of bare minimum success, quote unquote. So they got they got it done what they needed to do, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, and Greenville does lead the series all time, but North Carolina could go for the clean sweep this season. They have 2-1 victories both in week 7 and week 22. With North Carolina winning on the road and winning at home. So they travel to Greenville this weekend to see if they can get a third 2-1 victory.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Um, I think this is definitely a match of two different styles of play. Obviously, North Carolina likes to play very quickly, very offensive oriented style, and Greenville traditionally and still likes to play a more defensive style. So it's going to be very difficult to contain North Carolina's attack. But I think if any team is best suited in the league to do it, it's a Greenville side who specializes in defense.
Yeah, I think you're right on there. Um, so Greenville, has only been shut out once, there in Paladin Stadium, and that was in their first, home match there against, Richmond. Ever since then, they've been scoring in every single match, sometimes even as many as 5, which they did against Chattanooga, but in recent weeks, in their home matches, their last 3, they've scored 6 goals. So, I mean, they're feeling good there at home.
Hmm. Yeah. That being said, though, North Carolina is the best team in the league away
Yeah,
from home as well, with 7 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses.
yeah. That's where it gets scary. Um, the thing about North Carolina playing on the road is, there's not a whole lot of, clean sheets happening whenever they're involved. Um, they've only been shut out once on the road. They've had 2 clean sheets on the road, so there's goals happening, which gives Greenville a chance. Greenville, I think, is in a much better position offensively. So if they're able to put some pressure on North Carolina, they're certainly gonna, find some opportunities along the way. I think if they review the tape from the Union Omaha match midweek, they may be able to find some pockets to expose North Carolina. But at the same time, you can flip it around to North Carolina, having that loss on the road midweek. They want to bounce back, and it's one of those emotional things where, you lose a game and you want to play as soon as possible so you can, regain that form. And so this one could be a grudge match.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like there's some talent on this Greenville team, especially up front, that can almost mimic what Union Omaha was doing so well during the middle portion of the match before they started giving up all of those goals, and really just try to force the issue for NCFC up the sides of the pitch instead of being able to play through the middle and play balls long through the middle, which seems to result in a majority of their goals. So, um, if they can do that and keep a lot of pressure on them, it'll be an interesting match. I don't know if Greenville has the offensive firepower to get enough goals past to be able to beat them. I mean, it like you said earlier, the season series NCFC's won 2-1 in both other meetings. So um, it's if they it seems like if they can get 2 goals, they'll at least get a draw if you're Greenville.
Yeah.
So
And another thing that leans in favor of Greenville is the fact that North Carolina is experiencing some injuries right now. I think against
mhm,
Union Omaha, they had 6 players that were missing for that match.
yeah,
So if they are missing those same 6 players against Greenville,
mhm,
that gives Greenville a chance to take advantage of that opportunity.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, obviously, you're missing a huge piece with Holiday being out. Um, for the rest of the season. That I feel like that's maybe a little bit of where some of these struggles have been coming for NCFC lately, if you want to call them struggles, I suppose. But 2 losses in their last 5 is not something that they're really used to at this point. So, um, but yeah, with the number of players they have out, that's also going to be very interesting because if they were out at midweek, chances are they're going to be out in this match as well.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, that roster is still pretty loaded to be able to deal
It
with it
is.
as well. So
Yeah. Let me take a look at something here really
mhm.
quick.
While you're doing that, Tim letting us know as well that USL is 4 goals away from tying the season record.
Four
Um,
goals. There it is.
461 goals last year for a 2.71 goals per game average. For 170 matches, they're currently at 457 with a 2.99 goals per game average
Wow.
at 153 matches.
Wow.
So yeah, I think they're breaking it in that first match for me. So
Yeah. Big spike. Oh, and then Michael coming in saying he thinks the record was broken on Wednesday.
Very well could have been.
Yeah.
Did not factor in Wednesday matches, I suppose.
Well, on Wednesday there were 12 goals on that night alone. So yeah, it could easily be the record
Yep.
breaker. Man,
Oh, so
very
that
cool.
that was the regular season that Tim was referencing before, with um, where the stats that he gave were including the playoffs in
Oh,
2022.
okay.
So we're
Gotcha.
full, yeah, wow, 4 goals away from all of last season, including the playoffs.
Man. So they're just, oh man, smoking last season. You know, at the beginning of the season, with all the action that we saw on League One Day One and some of the signings that followed, I think you and I both felt that this was going to be a far more offensive season, anyways.
Hmm.
So to see that, while at the same time surprising, it's not really that surprising,
Right.
but still very cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people offense puts butts in seats. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
no need to sugarcoat it. People want to see goals scored. So anytime you can see more goals scored, it's going to be a win for the league.
All right, prediction time. What are you feeling for this one?
Oh, this one is going to entirely depend on Greenville's ability to play the high press for 90 minutes. I
Mm,
feel like if Greenville can high press and force NCFC to play down the sidelines as opposed to play through the middle, I think Greenville has a chance to play and I to win it. And I think Greenville has the players to get it done. So give me Greenville 2-1 over North Carolina.
nice. All right. So you're going for some drama. You're going for 2 consecutive North Carolina losses.
2 consecutive North Carolina losses on the road.
Wow.
Not a good road trip for them.
Yeah. Let me look something up here really quick because that may inspire something. Um, North Carolina has not had consecutive losses this season.
Mm.
So that would be, man, that would be a huge dagger in their hearts, especially coming down the final, few matches of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, man. All right. And we have another one that's going to be filled with drama. I think we're going to be discussing that one next. But as far as my prediction for this one, I am going to go for a 2-2 draw. Yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
I like a 2-2 draw. Yeah, I could see it happening.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next kickoff on Saturday or tomorrow night. Oh yeah, this is the drama filled one. Kicking off at 7 p.m. Central Time. We have Ford Madison hosting One Knox.
Oof.
And if this one isn't at the top of your list for watching over the entire weekend, I can understand if it's your home team's club, but as an objective, like if you're looking at the league as a whole and the storylines and the implications, this one has to be at the top of the list.
Oh yeah, this one is definitely the my most interesting match of the weekend.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. Um, you have Ford Madison in sixth place. You have One Knox in seventh place. You have Ford Madison, who has 3 losses in their last 5 matches. You have One Knox with 3 wins in their last 5 matches. This one is just, if One Knox wins this match, they jump Ford Madison to take the sixth spot in the league table. So the storylines are there, the drama is there, the tension is there. This one is going to be so good.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, if we look at the stats on it too, it backs up how good this is going to be. Um, you look at the goals for average for Forward Madison at home is 1.45 goals. If you look at the goals for average for Knoxville in away matches, it is 1.25. So both teams scoring on average over a goal a match, roughly averaged out. And then if you look at the goals against, Madison sitting at 1.27 goals against at home, and Knoxville sitting at 1.08 goals against in their away matches. So these teams are very similar in their statistical categories going into this match for their respective places. Just insane. And they're only separated by 2 points in the table. The records are very similar. This is almost the ideal matchup for people who like a little bit of chaos.
Yeah. And they just played less than a month ago. They played on August 12th. So, I mean, these teams have seen each other very recently. They are familiar with each other. Um, After a 0-0 draw in their first match back on May 3rd, they followed it up with a 2-1 victory for One Knox on the road in Brees Stevens Field. Um, so, oh man, this one's gonna be so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I'm interested to see how One Knox's defense counters Ford Madison's formation. I think that's going to be one of the funnest things for me to watch. So, whereas the Greenville, North Carolina one um, is going to be a very big tactical match to watch, like it would be awesome to watch that match from a high angle so you can see the formations and all that kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
This match is one where it's equal parts. I would love to be down at field level to see and feel all the emotion that's happening. At the same time, it would be really cool to be a little bit further withdrawn so I can see how One Knox matches up with Ford Madison's formation. I think that would be a really cool thing to watch.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the biggest thing that is going to go into this match, obviously, we know One Knox has a good defense, but how are they going to be able to deal with a forward Madison side that gets Ozzy Ramos? Whether or not he's going to be fully integrated into the squad at this point, I feel like Ozzy can probably jump into any squad in that midfield position and run it very well.
Yeah,
Um, it really comes down to forward Madison's midfield, which has been the talk for weeks now.
yeah,
If they can get their midfield woes figured out, this team will rise back up to where they were pre um, previously. However, they that's a big ask for a guy to come from one team to another and essentially be the guy that has to do everything and lead a team that you don't know to victory.
yeah. And Tim in the YouTube comments is echoing everything that you're saying because he said Madison's formation may hinge on if Ozzy is ready to play. Mingo
Mm-hmm.
midfield is beaten up, and he
It
followed it up
is.
with plus Ozzy and Cheney have a history together. That could be um whoop, I gotta scroll so I can okay. That could be deadly if he's ready. I got this heart that's sitting in the way, so sometimes I can't see the full text. Um
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean he's bringing up some good, comments to follow up what you were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, man, if Ozzy's included in that midfield, it changes the dynamic of this match.
It
I
does.
wholeheartedly agree with that.
It does for sure. That being said, though, One Knox is also one of those teams that they're hot right now. I mean, they haven't
Yeah,
lost in their last four matches, where Madison's lost three of their last four. So very, very weird. And we know from watching this season, One Knox can have those little streaks like they're having right now, and
mhm,
they can play easily like a playoff position team. And Madison right now is not playing like a playoff position team. So two teams that on the opposite ends of the spectrum, but a win for either team here really puts them in a great position to be able to make that late season push. And man, it's this is going to be must watch soccer match. I actually might have this going on my phone while I'm at the Union Omaha match watching it. That's how important this match is to the postseason.
Yeah, and if you look at One Knox's schedule this season, they found results on the road. They won at Madison. They won both of their matches in Central Valley. But I mean, I guess Fuego is like the worst home team in League One.
Yeah.
So I mean, you would hope to win both of those. But to move on, they only lost by one against Greenville. But then they had draws away at Richmond, so in City Stadium, against Union Omaha, at Northern Colorado, at Lexington. They beat Greenville. I mean, this is a team who can find results on the road and against quality clubs too.
Hmm.
So that just shows the danger that they pose coming into Breese Stevens.
Hmm.
And if
Yeah.
you look at Ford Madison's losses at home, I mean, they did lose to Fuego. They did lose to Tormenta, but Tormenta's a really good road team. They lost to Hailstorm, but that was during their big streak. So I mean, even if you look at Ford Madison's losses at home, it's almost as if you can like make excuses for those losses. Like, so I man, I Ford Madison, they're a good, um, strong team. It's so weird to see them in sixth place in the standings because I really thought they were going to be a lot higher up the standings this season.
Hmm.
But I mean, this is one of those moments where I guess for both of these teams, they really have an opportunity in front of them to prove that they belong in the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah. This is definitely a rubber meets the road kind of situation for both of these squads. And then Tim in the live chat also saying that Knox is without Castro for this match, and their coach should be out from this match with a red card suspension.
That's right. I do remember.
So that changes the dynamic just a smidge. Oh, maybe that'll change my prediction. I got to think about it just a little bit here.
Yeah, having McKeever gone, I don't that's gonna be interesting.
Hmm.
Good point, Tim.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that.
All right, so let's do predictions. What are you thinking for this one?
Uh,
Yeah, tough
Ozzy
one.
Ozzy Ramos is a great player. I
Yep.
think he's gonna eventually really help this forward Madison midfield. I think as Tim said earlier that Ramos and Cheney have history together, and you also said that at the beginning of the podcast as well. They could be deadly if he's ready. Um, I don't think it's going to happen in this match. I think Forward Madison's going to continue their downhill slide here, and they're going to lose at home to One Knox 3-1.
Oh.
One Knox takes the victory and temporarily moves into playoff position.
Okay, so you think Forward Madison will get back into the playoffs?
I think Forward Madison will eventually get back into the playoffs. Yes,
Okay.
they have their schedule is difficult, but not impossible. And I
Okay.
think with the addition of Ramos and shoring up their midfield, they should be in a playoff position come the end of the season. And One Knox, I also believe will be in a playoff position by the end of the season.
Really? Ooh, okay. Okay, let's spill some tea here. Let's go to the league standings. I'm like panicking here to try to find the league standings.
Hmm.
Okay, so who who are they gonna be taking out? Or who are you taking out of the playoffs?
Uh, I don't know that I'm
Because
ready
the next
to.
closest is gonna be Greenville.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm ready to give that up quite yet. I have an idea of who I think it is,
Yeah?
but I got to do a little bit more research on them
Okay,
to make sure that it is.
okay. So we don't have to spill the tea just yet.
But yes, I do know that I see One Knox being in playoff position as well as Forward Madison before the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah, they're undefeated in the last 4.
Hmm.
So, yeah, like you said, they're on a hot streak.
Yeah. Plus, I got to make sure my midseason prediction for the final of Forward Madison and Union Omaha
Oh,
comes true. So I got to put Madison back in at least.
you just want all that drama on the last match of the season.
I do. I do. And yeah, I just want to be able to say I told you so when the final ends up being Omaha and Madison.
All right, so if I am, oh man, if I'm doing a prediction for this match, oh man, I am gonna go. This is so weird because I don't know if Ozzy's gonna be playing.
Yep.
Because if he plays, I want to give the win to Madison.
So I
But if
suppose
he
it
doesn't,
it comes down to if you think he is a good enough player to leave Central Valley at the middle of the week and be ready to play and to carry a forward Madison midfield come Saturday.
yeah, I if I'm being honest, I don't think he's gonna play in this match. Um, so with that being said, I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
And
Even then,
honest,
I'm like, even then, I'm like sitting here second guessing myself. Ugh.
yeah. But you know what? A draw puts Madison at 38 points. They keep that same gap, and
Yeah,
forward Madison's schedule. It,
they live to see another day.
it's tough, but they do live to see another day.
Yeah, they host Richmond, they host NoCo, they go away to Charlotte, host Lexington. They have some tough matches down the stretch.
They do. That decision day may be vital for this forward Madison squad.
Yeah, decision day is going to be a killer day. So, um, I am really hoping that I can get that off from work so that I can make the trip up to Madison. Because it's the very next week after Tormenta,
Hmm.
and so I already had my PTO approved for Tormenta. So I'm not sure if they're going to be too happy about me trying to take the next weekend off as well.
Well, just
But we'll see.
tell them you're an important member of the press and you need to be up there.
Exactly. Yeah. They're taking me away from my duty tomorrow night. You can't do that to me on decision day.
Yep, there you go. Just let them know.
Unacceptable. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so we both had our predictions for this one. Oh man, that's gonna be a good one. And then kicking off at the same time as that match is gonna be Omaha hosting Richmond,
Hmm.
7 p.m. Central Time kickoff. And this is another one of those cases where you have two teams and going in opposite directions.
Hmm. Yeah, this is going to be very difficult for Richmond fans to hear. But Richmond is playing very very poorly right now.
Yeah.
Um, and unfortunately, they are coming up against one of the hottest teams. I'm not even one of the hottest team in the league
The
right now.
Yeah.
Um, and they're coming to a place in Warner Park where Union Omaha has the best home record at 8-3-2, and Omaha late season. The fans turn up. This is supposed to be a big turnout, as referenced by Union Omaha's social media team for Hometown Heroes Night. So unfortunately, this is a very tough position for Richmond to be in.
Yeah.
Um, Omaha scores 2.31 goals at home, um, and Richmond gives up 1.77 goals away from home, and only scores away from home 1.31 goals, and Omaha only gives up 1.46. So, man, that's it. It just the stats don't look good, and the eye test of Richmond right now is this is not the same Richmond team from last season.
Yeah. You still have you still have Neil Vigneault's creating a lot of chances for Richmond. They just had that player just this last week that's what was he, like 16 years old, who
Mm-hmm.
scored
Yep.
in their match against Fuego. So I mean, they're bringing in talent to try to bring some offensive production.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, was it Nick Simmons? Is he the Yeah, Nick Simmons. So I mean, they were able to score 3 goals in that match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're generating some offense, and when you have Neil Vigneault's creating chances, he's going to set up really good chances too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I obviously I have a bias in this one. I think Union Omaha's going to win. But the thing that worries me is the emotional carryover from the North Carolina match.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the number 1 team in the league. They set the league record for consecutive wins. They have that emotional aspect going. I want them to be able to put that behind them and focus on the task at hand and, bring another 3 points from Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, this is a win in my
Yep.
book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I Seeing the way that they lost focus there toward the end of the match against North Carolina also worries me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to lose that focus. I want them to finish a game confidently and securely. Um, and I don't think that Richmond is one of those teams that you can lose your focus against.
No, Richmond still has all of the pieces to be a very good team. They're just not fitting together properly right now. Um,
Yeah,
it's still not a team that Union Omaha can sleep on by any stretch of the imagination. This team can still beat you, and as as long as they have Emmy up front as well. I mean,
yeah,
Richmond's always got a chance with Vigneaults and Emmy on the pitch. Um,
yeah,
Also aided by the fact that Rashid Nuhu seems to be still dealing with some injury issues. And Union Omaha's second keeper, Ian McGrain, is a capable keeper, but he's been caught out a few times. He tends to
mhm,
make a couple mistakes that a more veteran goalkeeper in this league doesn't. Um, Tends to take a little bit of chances trying to come out and force guys to take shots early, which you can't do if you are um, playing against the kickers. I mean, because we've seen um, Terzaghi in this league come in and goalkeepers try to force him to shoot early, and he will just dribble around you and score. Um,
yep,
Richmond is a very veteran team. They know exactly how to attack that kind of keeper. Um, so they have a chance there. On the flip side, Noe Meza came back for Union Omaha in the last match and scored shortly after seeing time on the pitch. So
yeah,
um, very impressive as well for Union Omaha going on this run without their top goal scorer and having other guys step up. So Um, I think there's definitely going to be a little bit of an
Yeah, I
emotional
mean,
hangover, but I think it's going to
as and
be something. It's I feel like it's going to be something that Union Omaha should be able to get over, um, and just cruise on to another victory.
yeah, Emiliano Terzaghi is still their leading scorer with 10 goals. And then there's a steep drop off to Joao Silva, who has 4. So, I mean, Terzaghi is still their man.
Hmm.
And you want to see more inclusion from some of these Richmond players. You're seeing even their defender, Nathan, Carlton Belmar, he has 2 goals. I really thought there was going to be a lot more goal production from this squad this
Hmm.
season.
Yep.
But in the end, I think this is going to be a Union Omaha win. So one of the things I did throw into our outline here, that Union Omaha, while they have that emotion that they have from Wednesday night, they have some records that they have a record that they could break on Saturday, because in 2021, 2022, and 2023, this season, Union Omaha has had an undefeated streak at home of 8 matches. Now, this match against Richmond would be their ninth. So if they're able to get a draw, like if they're able to get a result against Richmond, they break the record,
Hmm.
and that's a club record. And there's also the fact that they could extend the league record for consecutive wins. So I mean, there's certainly something on the line for Omaha here. And going back to our predictions again for North Carolina, I think you said you had them losing. So this will be an opportunity for Union Omaha to take advantage of that and jump up, and have some space even
Hmm.
over North Carolina in the standings. Because I think if North Carolina wins and I'm sorry, if North Carolina loses and Union Omaha wins, they would be 2 points clear of North Carolina.
Correct.
So yeah, there's a lot on the line for this one. Um, Even if you're looking at this thinking on paper, this should be a Union Omaha win. There's still a lot on the line.
Hmm.
All right, prediction. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to uh, give the nod to Union Omaha. That's just from the fan side for sure. But actually, looking at it unbiasedly, I still think Union Omaha gets the W. I feel like it's going to be uncomfortable for them at times. Um, and I think that's partially due to a little bit of a hangover from beating NCFC, and also um, the green nature of Ian Magikarp McGrain. I got you now, Tim. Um, and I feel like Richmond is a veteran enough team to be able to take advantage of that. I think Richmond gets out to an early lead, and then Union Omaha's talent and the fans at Warner Park will Union Omaha to a 3-2 victory.
3-2. Wow. Um, I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory.
A little more comfortable.
A little more comfortable. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll be able to see Union Omaha's newest signing, Lagos, playing. I'm excited to see him play. He's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and according to head coach Dominic Casciato, if some of the guys maybe need to take a break for a match, he's going to fill in. So we very well could see Lagos this weekend. All right, so that rounds out the Saturday matches. We'll jump into the Sunday matches. There's only two on Sunday. Um, the first one is Northern Colorado hosting Tormenta. And we know that Northern Colorado is good at home, and we know that Tormenta is good on the road. So this is an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely interesting. When you look at these teams on paper, when you look at the last five, I mean, it's a significant advantage to Northern Colorado, and obviously they're sitting at second at the table. Excuse me. Um, Northern Colorado is the second best home team in the league. Um, yeah, they score about 2 goals a match and only give up about 1 goal a match. So, with that being said, Tormenta scores about 2 goals a match away from home and only gives up about 1 goal a match away from home, nearly
Mhm.
2 goals. And we've seen Tormenta have these wild shifts between playing like a championship caliber team and playing like a non playoff caliber team. Um, it's something that Tormenta's going to have to get over very quickly if they want to stay in this playoff discussion. They're not outside of it quite yet, but we're getting to that crunch time where they really have to decide if they want to be in the playoffs or not. Um, but they're running into a buzzsaw of this Northern Colorado team that has refound its fire and desire to win matches as of late, winning all three of their last three and drawing the two previous. So um, Tormenta's really gotta be smart with their ball movement and really stout on defense because this Northern Colorado side, obviously with um, the far and away gold boot leader out there in Trevor Mon, I mean, it, it's hard to keep that guy out of the goal. So
Yeah.
that's something they're going to have to do if they want to win this match.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where you look at Northern Colorado and I mean, name a stat and they're most likely leading it. You have
Hmm.
their top scorer, you have assist leader Arthur Rogers. Um, I mean, these guys are just throwing up crazy numbers. Arthur Rogers also leads the league in big chances created. Not just chances created, big chances created. Um, And so if you're looking at chances created, he has 67, whereas big chances created, he has 14. So, I mean, this guy, oh man, Arthur Rogers, man, that guy is good. I
Hmm.
think when John Morrissey posted the graphs from League One stats earlier um, today, one of them clearly showed Arthur Rogers was head and shoulders above the rest of the league. And I think I commented on there that Arthur Rogers jumps off the page as well as the film, and I mean, I stand by that statement because that guy is good.
He is very, very good.
Uh, so when you look at Northern Colorado, they are undefeated in their last 3 home matches. In their last 2, they've scored 7 goals. This is a team that they're man, if you want to beat Northern Colorado, you gotta score goals. On the flip side, when you look at Tormenta, they can score those goals. In their last 4 oh my let's look at their last 5 away matches. They've scored 12, 17 goals in their last, uh, 5 away matches. Absolutely crazy. So, this one could easily become a barn burner,
Yeah.
and in the last 5 home matches, Northern Colorado has given up, let's see, 11 goals.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that it further emphasizes the fact that this could easily be a barn burner. This one is going to be very fun to watch. I think so. I think the Madison One Knox is the obvious winner to watch on Saturday. I think as
Hmm.
far as Sunday matches, this is easily the one to watch between the two that are happening. But the good thing about this one is um, this one won't carry over into the next broadcast, so you can do a double header of League One action on Sunday.
Finally.
Yes. That's the kind of stuff we love to see. And Tim jumping in the chat saying, uh, Northern Colorado leads the league in penalties conceded, 7 in the last 8 matches. So
Wow.
that's something to be mindful of. And if you know Tormenta, you know that Keziah Sterling is really good at converting those penalties. Um, and he has that long run up
Hmm.
to the PK as well.
Yeah, and Tim saying Delgado has saved
Uh,
6 of his 12 faced penalties.
I can find that stat just a sec. All right, when you look at Tormenta and you look at Keziah Sterling, let me get to the roster here. Stats. Do. I thought I was gonna get there a whole lot quicker than this.
No,
But
we're
I
good.
mean, Keziah Sterling has earned 3 penalties this season. I was wondering if they were gonna include. Oh, I know where to find that. It's over on the USL site. Jeez, look at us panic here, like jumping them all across all these different sites to.
Mm. Well, Tim coming in as well saying that Sterling got 2 penalties in the last match versus Northern Colorado.
Ah, okay.
South Georgia has the most penalties awarded at 14.
Wow.
That's an insane amount of penalties.
Yeah. Nope, I'm not gonna be able to find it here. Darn it. Okay, well, I was gonna try to find, um I can't remember where I found that. Oh, well. I was looking to see, uh, the breakdown of Keziah Sterling's goals this season, but I wasn't able to find it, so that's my bad, folks, for wasting all that time, but yeah, we know that Keziah Sterling is not only good at converting goals in the run of play, but also with the penalty kicks. So if you're Northern Colorado and you're at risk of conceding, you're gonna be a lot more mindful of that when you're playing Tormenta.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. You got the team that has gotten the most penalties and the team that has conceded the most penalties playing
Yeah.
each other. That's a bad combination if you're a Northern Colorado fan.
And if Tormenta scores a goal tomorrow, I hope like hell they celebrate with one of the Northern Colorado ball kids just to
Hmm.
rub it in.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
I
They'll
like it.
just make a tour of the entire league, just like celebrating with each ball kid from around the league. That'd
Sure.
be hilarious.
Why not? I love to see it.
All right, so uh looking at this one, all time, half of their matches they've played 6 times. This will be the 7th match that they've ever played. Half of the time they draw.
Hmm.
Uh of the games that did result in a winner, Northern Colorado won 2 of them, whereas Tormenta won 1 of them. So let's jump into predictions. What are you thinking for this one?
Uh, yeah, I usually don't like to go to the draw ends, but I'm going to in this match. I'm gonna have to predict a 2-2 draw with one penalty conceded for each side.
Ooh, okay.
Only one goal on each from the run of play.
Um, man, I was thinking that this was going to be a draw as well. And oh man, I am going to go. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw as well. I think that's a safe bet for this one.
Yeah, I think two offenses that can score some goals, and I mean, if you look at the all time series, there's been more draws than anything else, so why not go for it?
So based on your predictions, you have Union Omaha jumping from third to first,
Hmm.
and then so you have Union Omaha, Northern Colorado, and then I'm sorry, North Carolina, and then Northern Colorado in the standings of the top three at
No,
the end of the week.
no, because I will have. Well, yeah, yeah, and no, Northern
Well,
Colorado would jump them.
would jump them because let me jump over to
Nope,
the standings here.
they still wouldn't because they would have one less win. So it would be
One
Union
less win.
Omaha,
Okay.
North Carolina, Northern Colorado.
That damn weird tiebreaker, man.
Hmm. Yeah, let's not use goal differential like every other league. We'll just go with
Yeah.
wins first. Sure.
All right. So now we get into League One After Dark. This one is going to be in Fresno, and that one kicks off at 9 p.m. Central Time. So if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be a late night for you. And this one's going to be interesting. This one has some storylines, mostly because of the recent news that just came out of Central Valley to see how they adjust to the changes that they're experiencing in the organization.
Hmm.
Central Valley is not good at home. At the same time, Lexington is not good on the road. So I don't know. This one's going to be interesting.
I it's gonna be such a weird one. It's really hard to tell what's gonna happen in this one, just based on all of the stuff going on with Central Valley and Lexington being so damn up and down. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah,
both teams are roughly in the same ballpark for goals for and goals against in their respective home and aways. Lexington probably has the advantage a little bit in that one. Um, but Central Valley has also beat Lexington in week 18. But in week 22, Lexington beat Central Valley. So
so the home team wins.
the home team wins, but Central Valley is really bad at home.
They are. Yeah,
But then Lexington's really, really bad away. This is the hardest match to predict by far.
yeah, I agree. So one thing we can confirm tomorrow is that there are going to be goals in this one for both sides because Central Valley is the only team in the league who has not had a clean sheet at home. And Lexington is one of only two clubs in the league who has not had a clean sheet on the road. So there are going to be goals scored tomorrow.
Hmm.
Now it's just a matter of how many and for who. And you have both teams in their last two matches coming off a loss and then a draw. Lexington does have the better results both in their last three and their last five. Oh man, I feel like I could jump straight into the predictions for this one, but I don't want to just like go right off the bat into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, at the same time, man, I think Lexington's going to win on the road. Um, looking at a combination of factors, both with the internal turmoil over at Central Valley, but at the same time, just Lexington's recent performances. Uh, you know, they've I think I saw Tyler on Twitter recently saying that they've had like 7 save of the week candidates, or winners,
Hmm.
this season. So you know that, Knight is doing a great job there in goal, obviously. And then you have Robertson, who is just firing off these bangers left and right, week in, week out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Lexington on this one.
Yeah. Um, looking at it, Lexington has played most all of the teams that they play very, very closely, in their losses, in their wins. So it's tough. Excuse me. It's really tough for me to pick Lexington because they can't quite cover that hump and get over it and get anything done. But at the same time, I really feel like as you said, Rich, the turmoil with Central Valley is going to hit them hard, and it's already a team that's struggling to keep their head above water right now. Um, Central Valley's had some very promising uh, two draws before this last loss, where they were starting to look better, and then um, the head coach decides to go back to being the sporting director. So that's always tough. Not having a manager for next season, um, it's really tough. So I'm gonna have to go with Lexington to get this win as well. I feel like they. I'll say it again this week, and I'll put myself out there. They're gonna put it all together this week, just like I've said every other
Yeah.
week, and I haven't been right yet, but still keeping the faith. Tyler, I'm right there with you on it. They'll get it figured out eventually, and maybe it's this week that they get it figured out.
So to piggyback off of what you just said, not only do I think Lexington is gonna get it figured out, I think they're gonna do so, and I think they're gonna surprise fans in the way that they do it. Um, I think they'll get the clean sheet on the road. I think they'll get their first clean sheet on the road this week.
Wow,
Amal Knight averages 3.4 saves per 90 minutes, which is second highest in the league. I think that's all you need when you're playing Central Valley,
a very good point.
especially if you're taking Ozzy out of the midfield. Now you're taking out a huge facilitator for their offense, and you're taking away, offensive production. So even if you do need Amal Knight to step up and produce in the moment, he he can do so.
It usually does, yeah.
At the same time, on the other end of the field, Tate Robertson, as I've already mentioned, when he's not scoring goals, he's creating big chances, not only chances, but big chances. So I mentioned Arthur Rogers has 14 big chances created. Tate Robertson is in second place with 11 big chances created. Follow that up with if you look at the amount of penalties awarded. You have Balogun and you have Diouf both with 3 penalties awarded this season. So if they go into Fresno, um, you have Tate Robertson who can set them up. You have 2 players that can get in the box and, possibly, draw some penalties. You have a good goalkeeper who can save any shots that are on goal. Not to mention, you also have, Kalen Fox, on the back line who can provide some leadership and step up to make some blocks throughout the match as well. So I think that this is going to be a big win for Lexington. Um, I'm going to go with 3-0 Lexington.
I like it. I think Lexington pulls it out 1-0.
Ooh, you're thinking a lot closer. Okay.
But also the away clean sheet as well for Lexington.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So we've run through all the scenarios. If anybody has any last minute questions, throw them into the chat. We can jump on those here and now. Um, I think we have some fun playoff scenarios that we can cover here, uh, both in the closing minutes, but also in the coming weeks. So
Mhm,
I have some ideas that I'll you know chat with you when we finish the broadcast here, um, for social media stuff, that I think will be pretty interesting for fans of the show to see us post online and stuff like that. So yeah,
mhm. Yeah, it'll this week's slate of matches are all really good ones as well, so
yeah,
it'll be nice to get everybody out there to watch the matches in person or watch them on ESPN Plus. It's definitely going to be a good week.
yeah.
Um, that and the fact that Nebraska is going to go out and beat Colorado tomorrow at 11 a.m. Um, had to throw it out there. It's also college football season now, so um, but yeah, these there's quite a few good matches. Like we talked about, the Madison Knoxville one being the marquee one that I'll also be watching, um, and trying to break down as much as I can to really see which one of those teams really wants that last playoff spot.
Yep. Oh, and to circle back up to the top toward the beginning of the show, Tim did throw out a question that we didn't answer in the moment, so we can actually chat about that one here really
Oh,
quick. He
perfect.
said, "Would you rather be in North Carolina in late fall or Omaha or Colorado?"
Me personally,
Well, we know that you're going to say Omaha.
yeah.
I think Colorado would be the worst option of those.
hmm
Uh, not
Strictly
only because
because
they're
of
a
the
good
weather.
team, but also because of the elements and the
hmm
weather. Yeah. Um, Omaha, because they're on a hot streak. And plus, just I just don't wanna play North Carolina in North Carolina.
hmm
Um, but of those 3, if I'm a team that is looking to make it to the next round, I feel oh, man, I don't wanna say that. I do, but I don't. I feel most comfortable right here, right now, going to North Carolina.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah. I know, and that's why I was saying I don't wanna say it, but I do.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, that's
'Cause
honestly out of those three teams that's probably the best option because you have Omaha sitting at first at home, and then you have Northern Colorado second best at home. So by proxy, I mean, or by process of elimination here, NCFC has got to be below those two. So you would think you would want to go to the place where you have a better chance of winning.
yeah, I really don't like but still, like, traveling to North Carolina for a match, especially like a one-off, that's
hmm
still not that doesn't sound like fun.
No, no, it does not at all.
Yeah, they've won 3 of their last 4 home matches. Well, they've won 4 of their last 6, really.
hmm
Oh, man, they're just yeah. But like you said, yeah, looking at the rankings, I mean, that's where we're at.
I mean, it's a
Oh,
damned
man,
if you
that's
do,
tough though.
damned if you don't. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
go to any of those three teams.
The the separation between those 3 clubs is not very much at all. So, but for
Yeah,
us to say that we would rather go to North Carolina, that's not an insult against North Carolina.
right.
All right, let's see if there's any questions here.
Yeah, Tim just saying NCFC does not want
Oh,
to leave the South in the fall. They need that home match, so they'll have to pick it up now.
oh, and he brings up some really interesting points here. So, Keziah Sterling has 5 goals from penalties, but he has 4 missed, and 4 of his misses this year are against Lalo Delgado.
Mhm.
Ooh. Ooh.
Added some
That's
more intrigue
interesting.
there.
Yeah. Good job pulling those up, Tim. Those are good stats right there.
Very good.
Love it. Yeah. All right. So, um, that is another show of League One on the Rocks. We will be putting out the polls here in just a little over an hour. It won't take long for me to put those together since I have all these stats already prepared. We'll also have the best worst finish tomorrow morning. If I have time and I don't feel like sleeping tonight, I'll also have some of these video clips ready to go. So we have plenty of content that's going to be released onto social media tomorrow and Sunday. So keep a lookout for all that stuff. Starting Monday, we'll also have some cool playoff, graphics that will be thrown on social media as well. We'll try to, get some conversations going with some of our fans on social media. So we have a lot of stuff coming your way. And as the playoffs get closer and closer, we're just going to be sleeping less and less.
Yep.
It's the way it works.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's going to be another great week of League One action. When you are not watching your home team play, make sure you're watching those ESPN Plus broadcasts. Support the play by play commentator. Support your um, local coverage. Yeah, just keep supporting your club. I mean, just get out there and just keep supporting the league.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thanks everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next time.
Alrighty, thank